camera looks terrible. I, guys, am fighting with a new laptop, and so I probably look horrible, but that's okay. It is Monday. It's 5 o'clock. It's time for After Hours Real Estate. If you are thinking about buying a house in Central Texas, or if you just want to keep on top of the Central Texas real estate market and the mortgage market, that's what we're here for. Chris Peschek, broker associate at Peschek Properties. And my buddy over here, that's Steve Babcock, mortgage loan originator extraordinaire.
How are things, sir?
With Motto Mortgage. Man, things are, when you have to get a new laptop and everything has to be reset, it drives you up the freaking wall.
That's kind of how I've gotten with cell phones. I was thinking about this the other day. I used to love getting a new phone. And now it's just the same damn phone with the different, it's supposed to be a prettier screen. I don't know. And, you know what? Good call. What are you drinking, brother?
Man, I've been fighting with this thing. I didn't have time to go in and get a drink. I'm in my new office, so I'm drinking water. Yeah, it's after hours, guys. We typically drink some kind of adult beverage. Our buddy Michael is reminding us, and I fell down on the job. What are you drinking?
I'll take one for the team and drink one for you.
Appreciate that.
Got a Bex.
Oh, we staying in the green bottle, but just a little bit different.
I have a brother-in-law that is from England, and this is one of his. I'm sorry, I said England, Germany. This is one of his drinks of choice. So I had that for him for Easter this weekend.
Bex is solid, man. Yeah, dude. I know, man. I know.
Yeah, totally fired.
Better when you called me on when was it? Thursday? I was in a winery. Does that help? So, guys, this is just all.
It just reminds me of winery. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. You're drinking seltzer water. I think he can make fun of you a little bit. Whatever. I'm sorry.
Guys, what we really do on this show is we talk about real estate and mortgage related things. So let's hit the highlights. Mortgage trending up, trending down, trending stable.
Yeah, no. I'd love to give you some great news. Okay. I just absolutely love to give you great news, but the forecast is not looking good. Today we lost another 20 basis points. We are now back solidly into the sevens for most lenders. Low sevens, but still sevens.
Depending on interest rate amount of.
Depending on a ton of different factors, who you go to, what you're putting down, where you're buying, what kind of home you're buying, all that kind of stuff. There's so many factors. It's not even funny. So no, I did not just quote you an interest rate. I said we were in the sevens. Let's just add plus or minus 2 to that, and then I've covered my bases, right?
Yes, you're somewhere between 5 and 9.
Yeah. It's very, very safe. But the real problem here is inflation, and the jobs numbers. I've been laughing with Chris here for months, 15, 16 months now.
I was about to say it's almost 2 years, man.
Yeah, about how the jobs numbers were off by like 10,000, and that was a little high. And then they were off by like 30,000, and that was really high. Then they were off by 50,000, and then it was like, wait, this is a joke. And then and every month they get adjusted, and then it was off. Okay, well, last month it was off by like 100,000, I think it was. Well, the jobs numbers were off by 800,000 this month.
What?
Yeah, you just can't make this up anymore. It's absolutely astronomical. So the private payroll numbers and the government job numbers were off by that much. So it's okay. They're going to have an adjustment. Is it going to be 800? No. Should it be? Maybe. Probably. And so it's gone from, I wonder if these are accurate numbers, to, man, we're being flat out lied to. Yeah. And we're being flat out lied to, and then they're adjusting the next month right before or right after the new numbers come out.
After the new ones come out.
Right. So
the old ones, you see the new ones, and you're like, oh, it's great.
Yeah, right. It's like starving someone, giving them the meal, and then saying, well, you're going to starve again later, but don't worry. Hey, here's some food, right? And then, you can't eat for a month, right? It's one of those kinds of things where it's like, but you don't care because you were so starved for food. You start eating it. You need the new data. You want to know what's going on. Well, people aren't really trusting the government numbers anymore, and so they're going off the private numbers. And but private numbers say the economy is in the tank. That we have not added almost any full-time jobs. I mean, yes, if you've yourself gotten a full-time job, that's not what I mean. What I mean is the number of people who have lost jobs compared to the people who have gained full-time jobs is at net zero, unless you are a foreign national. So for people who are actual citizens of the country, and these are government bureau numbers. I'm not being political. I promise.
This morning.
And so our own government's telling us that like 1.2 million jobs have been created over the last year or so for non-citizens, and the citizens have not had any jobs created. And most of all of the jobs that we're talking about are part-time. There are very, very little full-time jobs available. So the economy is slowing down quite a bit, despite being told that our jobs numbers are great. They're not. People are getting laid off left and right, and I don't know. It's okay. So long story short is the inflation is hitting us, and here we go. We were supposed to have a rate cut this month, right? April or May. If we were in January, I would have told you we might be having a rate cut in May, maybe even as early as April. No. Okay. Well, no. Now we've gone from a 70% chance of a rate cut to now a 50% chance of a rate cut, and not in May. It's like June or July, maybe even August now, something like that. But the data just keeps coming out, and it's just ugly. I
had this conversation again today. The rate cuts are going to start in July. The rate cuts are going to start in July because the jobs numbers are not good. The economy's not good. Everything's bad. There is nothing to sell in the upcoming election if you're the current administration. So you better manufacture something. And look, I'm going to be a cynic and whatever. I mean, we've already manufactured 3 wars, basically. That's not.
I mean, it's bad. Yeah, that by itself is a whole nother issue. But that's now we're getting to politics, and I honestly, I always shy away from this.
But what I'm saying by that is that's typically like it's kind of common knowledge that regardless of what party's in office, a good way to help yourself going into an election is to start a war. Historically, that's been the case.
What's the saying? We don't want to change horses mid through. What's the
race or whatever? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, something like that.
So anyway, going back to it, I mean, you got to be able to sell something. So I really feel like come hell or high water, rates are going to get forced down starting in July, and it's gonna be ugly.
Man,
we know.
Here's the thing.
We're living the result now.
Remember when I was telling you how much government debt we have, and how it all has to come due? That's all due by November, December, October, something like that, somewhere around there. And it's not all due then; it's all due between now and then, right? And and part of the reason our rates went up today was because of that itself. So the Fed is attempting to sell its bonds. So they go, well, what are bonds? Mortgages. Okay, so they get out there, and amongst other things, right? But they get out there and they auction off their government bonds, right?
Isn't the government still the single highest possessor of mortgages?
The Fed is.
Well,
I would say the Fed is, yes, but treasuries and all that. But anyway, so they sell all these things. And when you sell them, you think, okay, what's the price, right? You go into a store, you pay a price. We say, well, okay, no, it's a negotiation, it's a trade, so It's a bargain. So they get out there and they say, okay, we would like you to pay this much money, and then some big government says, no, we'll pay you a different price. And if that different price is not what the government was looking for, they usually still sell them, but at a loss. And then what eventually happens is our rates change, right? Because our currency isn't worth quite as much, et cetera. It's kind of an easier way to describe it. That would not be the textbook. I wouldn't teach it that way in a college, right? But if I'm just going to give you the 101.
Professor Steve, we'll start calling you Professor Steve.
My wife wants me to teach so badly. I would love to teach, man. It'd be so much fun. I just like to eat, you know what I mean? Details. But yeah, man. So what happened today is that we had a weak auction.
Yep.
The demand wasn't there, so we had to, adjust prices, and here we are today. And why would we have a weak auction? What that says is that foreign governments either can't buy our debt, or they've decided that our debt is not worth what they're paying for.
Which coincidentally is what you've been saying for now probably going on 3 years.
God, I hate that part.
Yeah.
I wanted to be wrong on this one.
Really
God,
need to get
I still hope I'm wrong on this one. If the BRICS
need to
nations,
get
man, they're terrifying to me.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Anyway, so there you go. 10 minutes on the interest rates.
10 minutes in, the world's going to end. All right. Yeah. No, we're all good. We're all good.
Awesome. We hit on politics and migration, jobs, and all this other stuff.
Wait till I get to my second beer.
Where else can you get this content? To our ones and ones of followers.
Okay, but in conclusion, we do have a lot of debt that we have to pay off.
Yeah.
And I don't think our Fed will be allowed to wait much longer than July or August.
Yeah.
You said January. You're probably right, but their hands are going to be forced, which will accelerate. It'll accelerate inflation, but it always waits. It takes 6 months, so it'll probably accelerate inflation after the election and make the next president look bad, whoever that next president is.
Yep, 100%. But you know what? You're willing to take that chance if you want to stay in power.
The now is more important than the tomorrow. Yes.
And again, there is no political slant on that whatsoever. It doesn't matter who's in power.
Oh no, both parties feel that way. Yeah, no, they have to have votes. You got to stay in power, right? Yeah. And there's countless examples of both sides being awful on that front. So I don't. Yeah. But we're too much into politics right now. This is killing me.
Okay. So let's dive into. I told you I wanted to share this Twitter thread today.
So I was going to ask for. Let's do it.
Yep. And let me do entire screen here. I talk through this every week. You would think I would learn how to do it without that. So Mike Simonson, analyst that I follow, here, and I'm going to kind of skip over a few things, but I want to read this first thread that he's got. Inventories climbing. We're 26% over last year over year. New listings are 18% over, 13% for contracts. And he's saying as supply grows, there's less upward pressure on prices. Okay, that makes complete sense, right? Now, just based on that, I want to ask you.
Wait, say it again. You're saying as supply grows what?
Less upward pressure on prices. Supply and demand, basic supply and demand.
Well, yeah.
Okay, there you go. Now, I want to ask you on this. Has he talked anything yet about numbers, comparative numbers to past years, anything like that?
I mean, I'm having trouble seeing the words, but it doesn't look like it to me.
Okay. All right. So let me see if I can enlarge this a little bit. Does that help you?
Well, I'm on my cell phone, so it's not going to help too much. A little bit, yeah.
Doesn't matter, but that'll help other people. Okay. So here's what I want to get into.
He's right, but he's off by a month. So they all slowed down. But keep going.
Right. What I want to look at, this is the last year. Okay, that's fine. Or last 2 years. And it's tracking, right? It's tracking. This year is kind of right in between the last 2 years. But what I want to get down to is this. He's talking about how much higher our numbers are, our under contracts, our inventory and all that other stuff. We're higher than last year, but we're still probably that same amount less than the year before and any of the last 7 years. So, okay, we had a lot more inventory.
So what you're saying is this is the sixth worst year in history, in the last 7 years, right?
Last 7 years. We're still below COVID inventory. And I know there were a lot more buyers trying to get out and stuff like that. But in the Austin area, if you look back to 2017, have we seen prices soften outside of here, which we've talked about?
Most definitely, yes. Well, wait a minute. Which year are you? It's recently they've been going up a little bit, but that's just like the last 2-3 months from my
right. But they peaked in June 2022, and then they softened in 23, and now 24 we're seeing a rebound. Is that accurate?
In Austin, yes.
Yes. Okay. So if we go back to 2017, he was just talking at the top. He was talking about how all this additional inventory, we're 18% year over year of inventory. That's going to lead to softening prices. I don't know how else to extrapolate that other than to say, hey guys, we still don't have enough inventory. Prices are still going to go up in Austin, Texas. I mean, now I know I'm conflating two different data points, right? I'm looking at a nationwide graph and I'm talking about local, but I'm just thinking about the percentages, right? If percentages are up, they're generally going to be up over most of the area. So again,
Sure.
I know I'm conflating two different things, but I just thought it was worth pointing out. And again, this guy, Altos Research, this guy knows his stuff. And even he's using that same clickbait. Oh, hey, the markets, oh my gosh, we've got all this inventory. Contracts are climbing. Everything's going up. We're going to have less pressure on prices. We're not going to see growth. Even a guy that studies this stuff religiously is doing this. And I swear it's a social media phenomenon.
I'm so sick of social media, to be honest with you. I'll tell you, man, it hears me talk about one thing and then my whole feed is off. So my friend's going through a divorce and I sat with him on the phone for like 5 hours, probably like 10 hours over the last, a month or so. I don't know, not too long, but actually it's probably whatever. I've spent a long time on the phone with them. Right? Okay. Yeah. And all of a sudden now my YouTube feed is talking about women or men that are mistreated by women. And man, these girls are such bitches and blah, blah. I'm like, oh my God. Like, when did I get so hateful? Right. And like, I swear to God, it's almost disturbing. Actually, it's kind of disturbing.
It is.
I never even searched for anything like that. It's just so weird to me that it pops up now. I'm just kind of sick of how invasive it is.
I love how people with iPhones tell me, "Oh, iPhone doesn't spy on your conversations."
Bullshit. And it's so invasive. But then, if it worked, it would be okay. But it's inaccurate, right? I don't know. The other day they had this Hitler thing on there where some guy had used AI to transpose or to do the audio in English. So like to transpose the German to English, but it was in Hitler's voice. Right. It was crazy. So he didn't just do Hitler. He did Mussolini and all these other dictators so that people could actually hear what a dictator sounds like and how they could actually sway the minds of others. And, just so you could really like understand why they did what they did. I thought it was fascinating. And now I got all this Hitler stuff on my feed too. It's like, well, God, what lists am I on now? Right. Like I found one thing to be interesting. Right. And now like I don't anyways, yeah, I'm kind of done with social media, man. It's really not
knocking on your door, man. For those of you
it's just not as cool as people are making it out to be.
No, and people should know at this point, if you hadn't seen me much on Facebook lately, I'm very rarely on Facebook. And I know that's where I kind of like I went hard for a few years and I'm just not on there anymore. I'm tired of it. I'm so tired of it. Give me YouTube, give me Twitter. And Twitter's just as bad. But at least
Facebook, they won't let you change your business pages.
Exactly.
And it's horribly aggravating for a lender that moves like typical lender moves like every 3 years, right? I mean, a lot of them will stay where they are forever, but when the rates change, it's hard not to, right?
When you're old brokers, they won't change it.
Yeah, and it's basically it's a violation at the licensing level, and to do it, you have to like basically call up Mark Zuckerberg to make it happen. It's unreal.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not a fan.
I won't turn you in, by the way.
Yeah, I had to switch mine to Steve Babcock Mortgage, right? And then I can edit the rest. But like if you do Steve Babcock and then the mortgage name, you're locked in forever. Yeah. And it took like 19 attempts over like maybe 8 months. And they kept denying me. I kept requesting it. Finally, they did it. And I'm thinking like, please, nobody get me in trouble with the licensing. It's just ridiculous how difficult that has to. I mean, it's just come on, man. Anyways, what are you gonna do?
Yep. Not much. Anecdotal stuff. I'm seeing some more buyers pop up.
We're seeing things that it's definitely busier than it was last year. Okay.
Yes.
This right now we're having the busiest month, or we just had the busiest month that we've had in about a year, right? So it's busier. But the rates dropped and then went back up. So I'm wondering how much of that is rate related and how much of that is just people pent up with, all right, we waited 6 months. I'm not waiting anymore. That kind of stuff.
And I don't know. Typically, I like to think that the realtors are a little bit of more of the leading edge because when rates went up, the sign calls, the inquiries and all that stuff stopped. And those people that you had shopping already were still shopping. So that kind of cleared out. I'm starting to see it pick up just a little bit again. I'm still bullish on this because I've got a feeling I know what the government's going to end up doing. I still think we are probably going to see Austin area wide. we're still going to see 3 to 4% appreciation this year. I mean,
I could see that. I really could, especially next year.
Yeah, and that's a normal market for us. 3 to 5% or even 6% appreciation in that band. That's normal for Austin.
Yeah, it's really important that people understand that historically homes are not investments. They can be for investment homes. But in that specific situation, you have someone living in a home that is paying off a loan for you that you can then cash in at the end or use in different ways. You know, you've got different exit plans on that, right? I mean, you can sell it, you can rent it, you can lease it, you can lease to own. You've got all these different options. You know, but when you own your primary residence, it's supposed to go up like gold would go up, right? You don't buy gold to make a fortune. You buy gold to hold your fortune.
That's right.
Right? Because I can take gold and go to any other country and transfer my gold for their currency and get the equivalent denomination, right? If it's going to buy a house here, it'll buy a house there, right? It's supposed to be the same at least. And so, you know, that's kind of the idea of the house, unless you know, use it like Chris can teach you more about that. But, you know, buying a home in Austin and having it go up 20 or 30% a year is well, anywhere. That's phenomenal, but it's not normal. That should take 10 years.
It's happened twice. Yeah.
Right.
In back-to-back.
Which also risks the exact opposite fall, right? I mean, if you think about like Florida back in 2008, where people were buying condos for $500,000, they couldn't sell the next year for 250.
Yeah.
You know, it's just
there's a little bit of that happening right now, but it's a very. I won't get into the specifics of it, but I've seen a couple of sellers that are just in trouble. But it was because of. I don't know. It just
job losses.
No, it was just they were both just an issue of bad timing. That's what we'll say.
So that's what scares me more than anything else, though, is the business owners I've talked to that have been taking out loans at higher rates to make things work. You know, people that are just throwing on band-aids waiting for lower rates. If the rates don't go down.
No, and it's happening, and I know that it's happening, and they're taking out additional loans and. Yeah, it is. Oh, what is happening? Oops. Phone's on.
All that technology, man.
Not get away from it. Cannot get away. I was trying to turn my dang phone off, and it starts ringing. So,
it's all right.
Let's wrap up there. Let's wrap it up. There's not a whole.
Hey, by the way, before you do that, are you using the camera on your new laptop?
Yes, it's
like
bad.
A built-in camera.
Yes.
It looks phenomenal.
Does it?
Yeah.
It looks fuzzy on my end.
It looks great.
Like you look super clear and it looks grainy over here.
I got nothing, but you look good.
Cool. Happy April Fools, Shelly. I think I've been called never mind. I've been called a lot of things. Let's skip over that. Guys, usually we've got a little more data to share with you, but I think today was fun. We do it every Monday, 5 o'clock. And if you've got questions in the meantime, reach out to us. We're way more fun on the phone than we are on this video.
Good, maybe this one, but yeah, questions are good though.
Yeah, questions.
Right, we've had some great questions on this show before. So.
Yeah, we have. All right, guys, we will see y'all next week.